Rob has over 3,000 YouTube subscribers with over 130,000 views. He also works at TubeBuddy, so he's very familiar with optimizing YouTube presence. Today, we're going to see a valuable clip from our recent conversation from our podcast interview. If you're creating YouTube content, you need TubeBuddy. There's a link in the description. Go download TubeBuddy and start optimizing your YouTube presence. Let's talk a little bit about that personal brand for a moment.
Sure.
Seeing as like someone can gain value for building a personal brand as like in their career, or as a business owner or entrepreneur or creator, like how's that how's that beneficial? And how does somebody negotiate to make it okay? I guess it would be a good question to ask to you, because you might have seen some cases there. Like if someone's in an organization or a company and they're saying, hey, hold off on that personal brand thing. Do you have any advice for that? Sorry, that sort of evolved into like
that's yeah. No, it's a hard question to even try to express. I totally get what you're asking though. Like how do you like approach your somebody above you, whoever you're answering to say like, hey, it's okay for me to do this. So the first thing is if you work for a brand that is not comfortable for you to build your own personal brand, then that's just something you have to think about, right? If you work for like Facebook or Google, like you'll see like there's speakers. If you go to conferences and stuff, there are speakers that are represented there from Google, Facebook, Microsoft. See them all the time. Instagram. John Uche is a good friend of mine. He's a product manager at Instagram. He was at Vid Summit last year, for example, he was interviewed. People would interview him and stuff, and he has to run it through. He has to run it through legal and all those things. He needs to know what questions you're going to ask him. But, he has a personal brand. Like he goes and he's himself and he works for a company, and that's great. Right. And so that brings people back to IGTV. Like that's what he was talking about. He's like, hey, the power of vertical videos, for example. So it's a great example. If you're working for a brand that's that's not comfortable, like you just have to kind of think about that. Like why would they be threatened? You have to you also have to look at yourself like, oh, are you in it because you are building, are you building something so that you can kind of, with a plan of like, hey, I'm going to get out of here. I just want to like leverage this position, build enough, and then I'm going to get out of here. That's also something you have to check your heart on, right? Like, is that like,
right.
You have to check your heart. Like, is that your goal? And if it is, it's going to be very transparent. It's going to come out, it's going to be very easy to kind of read. But, for me, I built my personal brand with the sole, like, really all I wanted to do was like, it would just open doors for my current position, right? I wasn't looking to start my own business. I was just looking because I'm in a place where like, okay, partnerships. And so if you're like me, if you're looking to do collaborations and stuff, sometimes if you represent a brand, it actually closes doors, right? Like there's some communities and events and conferences and networks where if you show up as like the guy from TubeBuddy, that might open doors, right? Like, hey, I'm Rob from TubeBuddy. Oh, okay, yeah, we know TubeBuddy. Awesome, cool. But then there's going to be some places where they're going to be like, oh, TubeBuddy, like that's a company. Everyone here is they're just like solopreneurs, and we don't have a big brand here. Or they may see it as like, hey, this is a brand. It's an opportunity to that means dollar bills, right? Like, it's like dollar signs, like, oh, you're a brand. Okay, cool. Like, let's do this thing, but it's going to cost you this much. So if you have a personal brand, you can read the situation and then enter it into it either as the guy from the brand or the lady from the brand or just yourself. And there's a lot of places where it was better for me to just say, hey, no, I'm just Rob. I'm a content creator, create stuff on LinkedIn. Yeah, I work for Thinkific at the time, or hey, yeah, I work at TubeBuddy, but like, yeah, I create my own content. I'm just like you, I'm just trying to build my own content, my own channel, right? And very true, it's very true. So that's the importance of that, So whether you're like, and this isn't just for marketing guys, it's for people that are in product development or developers. There's conferences about Java and React and all these other conferences. There's product conferences. There's all sorts of conferences. Culture and people that work in HR. There's tons of conferences just for HR or community management. So be your own personal brand within a company, and then you'll have the opportunity to either speak at those events or be highlighted in those events, connect with those people, and that will help you. I know that there's a lot of people that I know that are in HR, and they built their own brands. You'll see them on LinkedIn, sharing like, hey, 5 best ways to maintain a company culture during COVID, while working remotely, things like that, right? And that brings them up. I'm like, hey, yeah, cool. This person knows their stuff. Oh, by the way, they work at Salesforce. So if you guys are interested in a really good company culture, check out some of our openings over here at Salesforce, right? So having a personal brand just does nothing but good.
Now, if you want to grow your voice and your influence, watching videos like this is a great way to do that. But an even better way to do that is to join our community. We have weekly virtual events where we bring in guest speakers, we do networking with influencers and aspiring influencers so we can help lift each other up. Now, if that's a community you want to be part of, then go to our website, whyinfluence.com, go to the community tab and join the community there. I look forward to seeing you there.